Once again, a presidential election could hinge on, as our late colleague Tim Russer was fond of saying, Florida, Florida, Florida. Right now, President Obama enjoys a 5-point lead over Mitt Romney in the Sunshine State. That's according to the new NBC News Wall Street Journal Marist poll. But that's still too close for comfort. So the president will head to Florida next week as his campaign launches a massive TV ad blitz. On Wednesday, the president turned to his new BFF, former President Bill Clinton, to try to drive home how crucial Florida is both for the Obama campaign and the country.
Florida is the future today. You have lots of young people with great diversity and enormous promise and too much poverty. You got a ton of old folks just like all of America is going to have as we baby boomers retire. And some are active and some need a little more help. Then you got all these folks in the middle trying to build an entrepreneurial future. And I want you to think about the main points I tried to make in terms of, let's just use Orlando as Exhibit A. All right, I believe what works in politics is an economic philosophy of shared prosperity, not one of trickle down. I believe what works in our real lives is a commitment to a society based on we're all in this together, not one based on you're on your own. And I believe what works to make progress is cooperation, not constant conflict.
Apparently, in the first part of the speech there, former President Clinton trying to appeal to one audience. Then he puts on his glasses to try and appeal to an entirely different group. We're not sure what that was about. To understand just how vital Florida really is this time around, though, joining me, Susan McManus, a politics professor at the University of South Florida, and back with us here, Shira Toeplitz, political reporter with Roll Call. Good afternoon to both of you. I mentioned the ad buy that the Obama campaign has planned in Florida. They are targeting 10 TV markets, including Miami, where they say it will be the, quote, largest and earliest buy for a presidential contest ever. I want to take a quick look at some of what they are trying to sell to voters.
And here's where we are today. 30 months of private sector job growth, creating 4.6 million new jobs. We're not there yet, but the real question is, whose plan is better for you?
29 electoral votes up for grabs in Florida, Susan. How important is a win there for the president? How important is it for Mitt Romney?
Well, from the very beginning, everyone has absolutely known that for the Republicans, it's critical. You can't win the White House if you don't win Florida. Romney has got to have Florida. But lately, it's become even as important to Democrats and to the president's reelection as he's done less well in some other states that he carried in 2008. So that's why it's so important. We're seeing the candidates, their spouses, and their vice presidential running mates every other day practically here. And just since March, $120 million worth of TV ads have been dropped into our state.
Jeez.
So it is a must-have state for both parties at this point.
People can't even watch the news in Florida down there, can they? Shira, let's take a quick look here at that NBC News Wall Street Journal Marist poll that we've been talking about. You see the president there at 49%, Mitt Romney at 44%. This is a state where unemployment is 2.5% higher than it was this time 4 years ago. Not to mention home foreclosures there being higher than the national average. Why is it that Mitt Romney has not been able to close the deal in the Sunshine State?
Well, I think the economic diversity of Florida plays a lot into this. Look, Florida is kind of a tough political nut to crack because you have, as the former president just explained, many different income levels. You have a housing market that's very mixed. The bottom fell out during the crash, but obviously there's some very nice homes and a very healthy markets in certain parts of Florida. I think it's been hard for Mitt Romney to really hone his message to different parts of the city. And plus, they just had the Republican National Convention down in Tampa, which is also where the Democrats bought a lot of time for this new ad. I think that's notable, too. I think the Republican message of the big convention probably permeated throughout Florida, instead of being able to micro-target certain parts of it, which is what Mitt Romney really needed to do. Susan,
my understanding is that there are roughly some 600,000 more Democrats than Republicans registered there in that state. That's no guarantee of a Democratic win, though. Back in 2008, the president beating John McCain by just 3%. In 2000, 2004, President Bush beating John Kerry by 5%. Which groups in Florida, or which group in Florida, is going to decide this race?
I really think you have to look at Florida from a generational perspective. Right now, you're seeing that older voters are leaning more towards the president, and President Obama leaning towards Romney, and younger voters need to be heavily in line with Barack Obama, which is precisely why every visit into Florida is to some college campus, because it was, in 2008, the younger vote that was the most cohesively behind the president and had a higher than average turnout. So if this election turns out to be one dominated by 50 and over, I think Romney will win Florida. But if the president can get the younger vote out, it will be a good chance that the president can win again.
I want to ask you about one more group here in particular. We've got the crisis in Libya. We've got the supposed snubbing of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Will President Obama face a tougher challenge among Jewish voters in Florida?
Perhaps. I think compared. Oh.
Susan, go ahead. I'll come to you in a second, Shira. Susan, go ahead with that one.
He's already had a little bit of erosion there, which is precisely why Bill Clinton was in South Florida. There's no one more beloved in the Jewish community than Bill Clinton, and particularly his wife Hillary, who did very well when she ran in Florida's primary, the year that, of course, Obama ultimately won the presidency. So there is some concern at any slippage, because let me tell you, even the 2010 election, the closest in Florida history, our elections have been getting closer, not wider apart. Less than 1% or so is all that's determining who wins Florida.
Shira, really quickly here, last question. What does the president need to say in Florida next week when he visits?
I think he needs to reach out to the Latino vote as much as possible. I agree that's a great comparison point with the intergenerational battles within Florida and that politics, but Latino vote is really going to be key. He has to build on his successes there already.
Shira Toeplitz, Susan McManus, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.